The NFL draft is in our rear view mirror. It's our turn to dissect a little bit. Best rookie fits, projection for offensive and defensive rookie of the years, and who is the most indispensable non-quarterback in the NFL? Tyler Rowland, Alex Clancy, we're going to hit it all. Locked on NFL Thursday. Let's roll, baby!
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked on NFL Thursday, Alex Clancy. Locked on Cardinals, Tyler Rowland. Locked on Titans. Follow him on Twitter at TicTacTitans. Every single day, all of the Tennessee Titans news you need, he can give it to you. Me, Locked on Cardinals, any Arizona Cardinals news. There's been a lot for both of our teams. You can check me out daily. Thank you for making Locked on NFL your first listen each and every day, free and available on all platforms. We've got a jam Thursday today. The draft is over. The storylines have kind of subsided, but like Tyler and I like to do, we like to think outside the box for topics. And with the weekend upon us, we're a full week from the end of the first round, and there's a lot of storylines, good drafts, bad drafts, a lot in the middle, but a lot of high impact players made it to a lot of teams that were only a player or two away from really making some noise. Big names got traded. Tennessee Titans, A.J. Brown got traded on draft day. Hollywood Brown to the Arizona Cardinals. We're not going to dwell on that.
No.
But a lot of rookies got placed in a lot of great spots with the ability to succeed and make an impact right away. We're going to hit that in the first segment. Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year projections we're going to hit in the second segment. And who is the most indispensable non-quarterback in the NFL? We'll hit that in the third. Tyler, the floor is yours. The best impact, the best spot for a rookie. Let's say, in the first couple rounds, who can make the most impact come 2022 and not necessarily down the road?
Well, I got to be honest. Maybe this is a cop-out, but I'm going to go with the favorite to win Rookie of the Year on offense per betonline.ag or betonline.net. We're going to talk about Rookie of the Year stuff in the second segment, but I can't help but mention that my pick is also the favorite because I don't want to take too much credit, but it's Chris Olave from Ohio State to New Orleans. I think with Jameis Winston's big-time arm, the fact they want to push the ball down the field, his schematic fit with Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas can be that big, physical X-receiver, the number one receiver, as people like to say. And then you got Olave, the speed threat that can go deep, that can track the ball. I think that those two wide receivers together are a perfect complement. Olave fits perfectly with Jameis Winston's style. I think Olave is exactly what the New Orleans Saints needed on their offense. So with the production, the scheme fit, the fit in the locker room, the fit at the wide receiver group, I just think that's the best fit of anybody in the first round.
Interesting. I'm going to go to somebody in the second round, and it's not somebody that's going to be able to play right away. It was an apple of my eye for the Arizona Cardinals to move up and take him towards the top of the second round. It's David Flippin' Ajabo. He goes to the Baltimore Ravens. I know he's going to be out. I know he's not going to be a defensive player of the year candidate this year. What did they need? Pass rush help. What does he do? Rush the passer better than most. And the fact that he dropped was an absolute crime. I don't understand why people will look at it. He was a top 15 talent if he was healthy. Top 20. Yep. So the fact that he dropped to the low 40s blows my absolute mind. And I think he is the perfect fit. Kyle Hamilton, I could have said him. The fact that he dropped to the Ravens in the first round blows my mind. Like how the Ravens get so lucky just by putting their hands under their keister.
Literally,
other teams are going to make mistakes and pass on people. That's like the best fantasy football guy or girl in your league. Just have two dumbasses drafting right before them, and they're drafting ninth. And it's like, well, thank you for the free luck. Thank you for the free great players. And David Ajabo, hands down, in my opinion, the best defensive player, if not the best all around for fit.
Yeah, I think that's a great fit. It's funny because on my list, I had one defensive player written down, and it was Kyle Hamilton to Baltimore. I think that's a perfect fit, man. Just Baltimore has won multiple championships just by keeping it simple, stupid. We're drafting the best football players. Yeah, he might be out for a year with an Achilles. Yeah, he might be a safety, and people don't think safety's that important, blah, blah, blah. But they just draft the best football player you possibly can. And then the Ravens have been the most consistent franchise like in the league since they arrived. They never are bad. They're always just mediocre at worst. And then when they're good enough to win it all. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think Baltimore did a great job. My last fit here for you, it's going to be another one on the offensive side, but I went into the second round as well. And I think it's James Cook for the Buffalo
Interesting.
Bills.
That was a reach, though. That was a reach for them at 69, right? Didn't they get him at 69?
Not
Oh,
69
no.
exactly, because the Titans picked at 69 and
That's
took
right.
Nicholas
That's right.
Petit
That's right.
from there. But it was right around the back end of the second round. You're right. And I got to tell you, I disagree. I don't think it's a reach at all. I think that James Cook is underrated. I think that this is another one of those, keep it simple, man. James Cook is going to be a good player in the NFL. We're going to look up in week 11 and people are going to be like, man, James Cook was one of the steals of the draft or one of the waiver wire pickups of the year. Man, he's getting so much dump off work from Josh Allen. He's getting 10 to 12 carries a game with Motor Singletary getting the other 10. But I think this is going to be a perfect fit for what I think this is going to expand Buffalo's offense. And I think he's going to get a lot of targets as well. I think that James Cook is going to be in the running for one of the conversations we're about to have. I think he's going to have that big of an impact. And with the talent on Buffalo, I think he is just exactly what they needed in their offense. So James Cook, running back out of Georgia to the Buffalo Bills in the second round, that's one of my perfect fits out of this draft.
Well, especially because they were linked to Breece Hall at 23, or no, in the 20s, right?
Yeah,
but then they got Kyer Elam. They moved up, got Kyer Elam, and then James Cook. There's no pressure for him to perform there. They've got an offense where they just throw the ball all the time. I think it's going to transition, and we're going to get to the offensive defensive player of the year, rookie of the year, in just a sec. Zion Johnson's another one for me for the Chargers. The first apple of my eye for the Cardinals. I mean, Rashawn Slater and Zion Johnson in back-to-back years to defend, to protect a tree trunk in Justin Herbert. It lends me to wonder why other teams with smaller quarterbacks aren't doing the same thing with the offensive line. I digress. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. You can listen to me bitch about that Monday through Friday on Locked On Cardinals. Tyler Rowland at Tic Tac Titans, Tennessee Titans news. He lost a child, an uncle, I don't know, family member, and AJ Brown. He held it together very well. Offensive and defensive rookie of the year next. It's going to be really fun to talk about. Tyler's going to take the stage first. Blue Nile. We're not getting any further away from Mother's Day.
It's here.
And for those of you that don't know it's Mother's Day, you got about 72 or 80 hours, gentlemen and ladies, to do something about it. BlueNile.com's got you covered. There's a couple things that separates Blue Nile. Okay. One is they've got 24/7 support. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, like me, Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7, available via phone or chat to help you find a memorable gift at every budget. Okay, they've got things like classic diamond earrings, elegant tennis bracelets, or gemstone pendant necklaces. Or if you're celebrating the woman in your life, like your mom, like you should be, BlueNile.com, you can easily navigate all the options. They've got thousands of them at every price point. This Mother's Day, give mom something she'll treasure forever with fine jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off a $500 purchase. This podcast exclusive is only good through Mother's Day. Use code Locked On. That's code Locked On Plus. Every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever peace. Go to BlueNile.com today. Do it.
NFL fans, it is a Thursday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. Thank you for making the Locked On NFL podcast your first listen every day. Make sure that you subscribe on whatever platform you do stream. You're going to find the Locked On NFL podcast everywhere and always free. We just talked about some of our best fits coming out of the draft, but now we want to take kind of a more holistic look at the NFL season and how those rookies could impact that. We're going to talk a little offensive rookie of the year, a little defensive rookie of the year. And Alex, we're going to start with the offensive side of the ball. And I have quite a few candidates listed here that I think could make sense, but I think we got to start with the obvious one. And it's hard for anybody but a quarterback to win this award. I mean, you cover a quarterback that did not deserve to win Rookie of the year that he won it. Should have been Josh Jacobs or AJ Brown for that matter.
Oh, shocker.
But either way, hey, Josh Jacobs should have won it.
Hey,
AJ Brown
hey,
should have been 2, and it should have
hey,
been Kyler Murray. That's all I know.
hey.
But the point is, they give all the awards to the quarterback, so we have to obviously acknowledge that Kenny Pickett, who I think has a very good chance of taking over for Mitch Trubisky right away, I think right now you got to put his name in the conversation.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer for me, and it's not a quarterback. And it's because of fit and because of reps. And it's going to be Christian Watson, okay? It's going to
I
be
have him there, yes.
Yeah, and the reason why, for those that don't know, this is the first wide receiver since Devontae Adams taken by the Green Bay Packers. It was fringy first round, wasn't all the way. Christian Watson is going to be a fantasy football darling in dynasty leagues. He's going to get so many targets because he's going to take over the Devontae Adams role. Remember, this is the best that I ever had. Devontae Adams in 2020, that's a couple years ago, but Devontae Adams in 2020 had more red zone receptions than DeAndre Hopkins had targets. Just let that sink in. Those are the kinds of numbers that this kid, who's an absolute burner, he's tall, he's got great hands, run fast, Aaron Rodgers will find you. It's going to be that. I think I'm betonline.net. That's going to be my guy at Christian Watson. And you probably get him at pretty long odds right now.
Yeah, you're going to get him at some great odds, but I love Watson. I loved Watson coming out of the draft for the Titans. Made me sad to see the Packers trade up in front of the Titans to draft Watson. It makes me wonder if the Titans were eyeing him and maybe the Packers knew that or whatever happened there. But either way, I like Watson a ton. I agree with you. Pickett, Watson, good options. Of course, we have to mention Breece Hall. I talked about James Cook, so I obviously think he's a good option. But Breece Hall is another guy. He could beat out Michael Carter in New York pretty easily. They don't have a stud running back there. He could get dump offs out of the backfield. He could also run the ball in between the tackles. I think Breece Hall, especially you think about like for fantasy, I think Breece Hall has I got to tell you this though. Again, I would take James Cook over Breece Hall in a fantasy draft. If you had to take a rookie running back, give me James Cook. But because I acknowledge that I'm not always right, Breece Hall has to be in the conversation because running backs, again, like quarterbacks, get a lot of love when it comes to Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, the thing is, the red zone running back for them is Josh Allen. So that's the real, like, he's the new Cam Newton. He's the guy, on third and goal from the 3. It's going to be him. It's going to be, especially with how much success they had in the playoffs last year with Devin Singletary and him running the ball. Yeah. So that, for me, I get it. And you know what? I think with Breece Hall, because he's going to be with the Jets, as you mentioned, he's going to have a little bit more room. Obviously, it's going to be him and Michael Carter, you think, unless they've completely punted on Michael Carter. But yeah, I mean, I still think it's going to be Christian Watson. Now, let's move to Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year. Okay, I'm going to go first because I want to steal yours. Now,
great.
It's unless you're Aaron Donald, it's very difficult to be interior defensive line and win anything. Ndamukong Suh was a world beater for a while. I don't think he ever won Defensive Player of the Year. Don't quote me on that. He may have. But unless you're Aaron Donald, it's tough for God, what am I talking about here?
Interior defensive lineman?
No, it's tough for Trayvon Walker to win it. It's tough for like a Devontae Wyatt to win it.
Yes.
Mine's Sauce Gardner, because with the Jets, they may have had the best draft. Yes. Like, the AFC East ain't going to be fun anymore for anybody. Right. That is going to be an absolute high-flying offense, bad boy defense, and they're just going to clash. And it's going to be awesome. I think that he's the best defensive player in the draft pound for pound. So I feel like going with him. I'm not sure if he's the front runner. I would assume he's not. I'm assuming it's Aiden Hutchinson being an edge rusher with the measurables. But I feel like Sauce Gardner is going to be the guy. He's going to wow some people.
And kind of like what you're talking about, I think it's hard for defensive linemen to win because we just want box stuffing stats, which is why usually we see like a linebacker have the best chance to get it. And that's why Quay Walker out of Green Bay, I think he's got the ability to go sideline to sideline at 6'4" with that athleticism. He has the ability to make plays in the passing game and a blitz. I think if he can get around, 80 to 90 tackles. He can maybe have an interception because he's dropping into pass coverage quite a bit. He can have a sack or two as they use him as a blitzer on early downs. I think a guy like Quay Walker could make a lot of sense. And on that same note, Nakobe Dean. Everybody said his long-term health was the issue. His long-term health may be an issue, but that's not going to be an issue his rookie season. I think Nakobe Dean, because of the narrative around him dropping in the draft and the information about his medical, we all know that all of these awards voted on by media are subjective and emotional. They're narrative-based awards because you know what the media loves? Narratives. Look at me right now. I'm looking at you in the face, people. I love a good narrative. I love a good story.
For
That's what
sure.
media people are drawn to, is the story behind everything. So because of Nakobe Dean's story and the ability for linebackers to rack up counting stats, I think Quay Walker but Nakobe Dean could be the defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, it's interesting, and this is going to be really fun. Okay, it's going to be really fun, and it's wide open because there's so many players that are ready to play right now with teams that
Right.
need players to play right now. So it's going to be fun.
And you know what? I'm putting this honorary mention in here for both of us so we can both take credit if this happens. But Kyle Hamilton, I know he's a defensive back, and like you talked about with Sauce, it's hard for DBs to win. But with Kyle Hamilton kind of being a tweener, sub-package linebacker, maybe a little overhang in the slot, I think there's a chance he could put together enough counting stats to also get himself in awards contention. But that is the defensive rookie of the year and offensive rookie of the year conversation. That's our rookie best fits conversation as well. We're going to go into the magical hour, as I would call it, as Alex spins his web of crazy questions and lays a mystery third segment on me, as we have been doing for quite some time here on the Thursday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. Before we get into it, do want to let you guys know about betonline.net, your number one source for all your betting stats and sports information. You can find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball season, and this weekend's run to the Roses at the Kentucky Derby. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs to esports and more. BetOnline, where the game starts.
All right. Final segment. Alex Clancy, Tyler Rowland. It's the fun segment. It's the outside the boxer statement. Tennessee Titans news Monday through Friday at Tic Tac Titans on Twitter. Arizona Cardinals news for me Monday through Friday at Clancy's Corner. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for making Locked On NFL your first listen each and every day. Check out the Locked On NFL YouTube channel. If you want to watch what craziness happened during the draft, Peter Bukowski and the Locked On NFL draft guys did just hours of talking. Hours and hours of talking about the draft. Great content. You can check it out on the Locked On NFL draft, Locked On NFL YouTube channel. So final segment here. I thought about this and I was like, you know what? The draft it's a little bit stale. You can talk about this over and over and over again, but let's do something a little bit different. Free agency hasn't ramped back up yet, except for, Honey Badger signing with the Saints, which is, homecoming, another Arizona Cardinals blunder. But there's something I wanted to talk about because we talked about most impactful draft spots for players in the first and second round in the first segment. Who is the most impactful non-quarterback in the NFL? And I'm going to add Aaron Donald into that because that's not fair. Okay? Because he would probably be the answer for everybody. Even if, if that's your guy, that's fine. I'm sorry, I'm taking him off the table. The most impactful non-quarterback in the NFL, plus Aaron Donald, removed from conversation, Tyler Rowland.
No quarterbacks, no Aaron Donald.
Right.
I am going to say Davante Adams.
Okay.
Like you dropped a nasty stat earlier that in 2020, Davante Adams had more red zone targets than DeAndre Hopkins had receptions.
Davante Adams had more red zone receptions than DeAndre Hopkins had targets.
Okay, yes. So that's insanity. But the reason why is because Davante Adams can beat anybody. He's the best wide receiver in the league. And Alex, something that you've been on for quite some time, the value of wide receivers is different now. People used to say, oh, you can win without wide receivers. You can win with it. Not now. Not now you can't. No. you have to have a stud wide. I almost said Jamar Chase. I almost said Jamar Chase with how impactful he was to that Bengals run. Literally, you couldn't stop him. And the big plays that wide receivers can make. So for me, Devontae Adams' ability to make big plays, his ability to win consistently with release, his ability to win in contested situations, back shoulder throws, red zone, all of that. I'm going to go with Devontae Adams if I can't take Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I have one that is the answer that I want to give, and one that's like in a vacuum. If it's not how many games, if it's not like, a full season, if it's in spurts, I'm going to give that honorable mention. It's Fred Warner for me. Fred Warner, I've seen him in my backyard from his rookie year through now when everybody knows who he is. It used to be Bobby Wagner. I would have given Bobby Wagner as the answer 3 years ago. These guys just run the defense, and as regardless of how porous the offense is with quarterback play, whether it be Nick Mullins or Jimmy Garoppolo not playing well, Fred Warner is an absolute bona fide superstar in the NFL. And the Cardinals have to see him twice a year, and maybe that's why I have a little bit more home cooking when it comes to Fred Warner and not somebody across across the country or whatever in different divisions. I'm going to say Fred Warner, but my real answer is, and go with me here, okay? It is a quarterback to this player duo that makes this happen. It's Gronk. Like Rob Gronkowski, when need be, is the most important player in the NFL during big games for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he was when he was healthy for the Patriots. In a vacuum, if I had one guy that would be feared by the opposition during a big game, it would be Rob Gronkowski. Because he is you can't defend him. He scored 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. That was the easiest BetOnline.net play. First touchdown or anytime touchdown, Rob Gronkowski against Kansas City. I was thinking about Travis Kelce, but Travis Kelce can be blanketed at times. When Rob Gronkowski is healthy, he is the most dominant tight end to ever play. And like Antonio Gates, fine, I get it. Tony Gonzalez. But dominant, can run over linebackers. Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez couldn't do that like Gronk can. So Gronk is my fun answer, but Fred Warner is my answer, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, Alex, I think that's asinine. I think that's literally insane. I think while Werner is a good player, that's insanity.
Okay.
Quite frankly, that's what I have to say about that.
Cool.
Quarterback, wide receiver, cornerback, edge rusher, offensive tackle. Those are the 5 most important positions of football. And if your answer isn't one of those guys, and with quarterbacks off the board, if your answer isn't one of those guys, then I can't agree. I can't agree. I can agree with anybody at any of those positions mostly. But linebackers, safeties, guards, tight ends, running backs, I just can't get there. But hey,
Cool.
that is an interesting answer that I'm sure people were not expecting. And that is exactly why we do this crazy, out of the box, third segment every Thursday. Alex's mystery segment every Thursday. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to get out of here and send you off into the weekend. Friday show is going to be hosted by your boy Q and Chris Carter from the Locked On Steelers podcast with your boy Q from Locked On Raiders. They do a great job on Fridays, so make sure you guys subscribe on whatever platform you do stream. That's going to do it for me. That's going to do it for Alex. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Bye.